Test, 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 test. You got it? You got it? You got it? You hear it? Hello, hello, hello. Hello. Hello, hello. You got it? Okay. Yeah, you stay close.
I always stay close.
Got space over here.
Appreciate the
Space over there.
A lot of space over here.
A lot of space over here. Okay.
I'll squeeze in.
Is everybody happy with their spot? Can y'all see everybody all right? Well, y'all, thank you for coming out and welcome to the Emergency Management Division. Some of you have been here before. We have a number of people here that you've seen in other places. Senator Jeff Zell is here up from Clarendon and Sumter. Priscilla Elliott from Golden Harvest. Georgia Miarton from the Central Community Foundation. She's the president. Harvest Hope Food Bank, Aaron Rowe. Low Country Food Bank, president and CEO, Nick Osborne. And I missed somebody in there. Also, Tony Catone, Department of Social Services, Leon Lott, the State Guard Commander, also the Sheriff of Richland County, as all of you know. We're here to address the needs of the people of our state and their safety during this time of trial when the food for a lot of people has been cut off by the dysfunction in Washington. We wish they could pass that resolution to just keep spending money like they have been for these kind of things and debating other questions at other times, but they've chosen so far not to do that. So that means that for these types of things, we are once again left to ourselves, which we are prepared to meet, and it's a good thing. As y'all know from many times we've been at this podium in this building during emergencies, some terrible emergencies threatening death as well as destruction, South Carolina always pulls together. We've got a great team. We've worked together. It's a highly experienced team. It's a highly motivated team. And it's a team that cares very much about the people of South Carolina. The one fund is administered by the General Carolina Community Foundation located in Columbia. The fund was established, you'll remember, in 2015 following Hurricane Joaquin, when Governor Haley set it up and asked the South Carolina, it to serve as South Carolina's coordinated philanthropic response to disasters such as this one, as well as hurricanes, other storms, and fires. The 1SC fund has been activated in hurricanes Matthew, Florence, Helene, as well as COVID, as you remember. 99%, that is 99% of every dollar donated to the 1SC fund is granted to nonprofits, that is charities that provide local assistance in South Carolina. The remaining 1% goes for outreach and study and research and reporting and administration and the oversight of contracts. The Central Carolina Community Foundation has activated the 1SC fund to provide emergency monetary support, that is money, funds, to food banks and local feeding partners statewide during the suspension of the SNAP program. We don't know how long that's going to be. We'll address that in a few minutes about how quickly we can respond. Now, again, this is for money, for checks, for contributions to charities. And we're asking you to do this. This money that goes to the 1SC fund will go directly to the food banks that we have that have been established for years all over South Carolina. We have a presence of food banks in every single county. All of this can be found online. We have 900 food banks and food pantries in the state, and they're broken up into 4 regional groups. The Golden Harvest Food Bank the Harvest Hope Food Bank, the Low Country Food Bank, and the Second Harvest Food Bank of Metrolina. Also, the second part of the effort is I've asked the State Guard to participate. The State Guard has men and women all around our state that can respond to disasters, that can help in a variety of ways, and they will be there to assist in whatever way they can at these locations during this time. So we really do have a great team. And what we're asking is, we know people give regularly, some very generously, to charities, food banks, all these various charities all over the state. We want to encourage you to keep doing that. But this money that comes into 1SC fund will be used only for this effort in having the food and other supplies and things that are available at these food banks all over the state. All this can be found online, and we'll have questions in a little while. Georgia?
Thank you. Governor, thank you for calling on us at Central Carolina Community Foundation to activate the 1SC Fund, which, as you said, was created in partnership with the governor's office 10 years ago. I do want to say very clearly that South Carolinians know how to help their neighbors in times of crisis. Most recently, we saw that with Hurricane Helene. That was the largest activation of the 1SC Fund. As context, that raised over $6 million. I want to say that today because we need people to step up and give in ways that they have never given before. We need our corporate partners and other foundations, philanthropy, to come together in a unified way to make sure that 550,000 people in this state who will not have access to their food benefits on November 1st have the food resources they need when they turn to their local food pantries and food ministries and food banks. As you said, Governor, there is a network of hundreds upon hundreds of people who show up every day to volunteer, to serve, to bring food donations, food products. But our food banks are short of the food resources that they need right now. And that's where the 1SC Fund comes into play. We are here to raise those dollars and make grants as quickly as possible. Every dollar that comes into the 1SC Fund, as you said, 99% will go right back out into local nonprofits here in South Carolina, including the large food distribution centers that you see their leaders standing here with us today. The 1SC Fund starts at zero. We don't have a reserve of dollars waiting to be deployed. Today, we are opening this fund so that you can give. We're opening it because the need is great, and we urge you to go to 1scfund.org. You can make a cash contribution, mail in a check, give by credit card, or contact us if you'd like to make a gift in another way. We appreciate you, Governor, Team SC. We are so grateful for the nonprofits working day in and day out to meet needs, not only in times of crisis like this, but year-round. Thank you to our food banks, and thank you to the volunteers, the givers, the philanthropists in our community who step up every day and in times of crisis like this. Thank you.
Thank you, Jordan. And I'd like to note one thing. Usually when we're here with these meetings and briefings, we are speaking about a disaster that we know is going to come. Well, this is a disaster that may come, but this is a disaster unlike the others that we can avoid. And we can do that by doing what we are prepared to do, and that's all the citizens working together to help those who need the help, who need food. Thank you. And Erin Rowe, Harvest Hope Food Bank.
Thank you. My name is Erin Rowe. I'm the CEO of Harvest Hope Food Bank. We are the largest food bank in South Carolina, covering a 20-county footprint from the upstate all the way down to that PD corridor. Thank you so much, Governor McMaster, for hosting today. When I think about what we're about to approach and face, I am going back to Hurricane Helene because that was a great testament of people coming together. South Carolinians do take care of each other, and that's what we're calling on right now. A lot of times the perception is food banks are funded by the state. We actually don't get funding from the state. We are 100% philanthropically driven, so we can only provide the food that is given to us and the support that is given to us. when we're looking at the shutdown, we are actually at a critically low food point right now. That typically happens this time of year, going into winter months, going into the holidays. So our shelves are pretty bare across all three of my warehouses in Greenville, Florence, and Columbia. So we are actively looking for food resources. To purchase food is a 2 to 3 week lead time to get that tractor trailers of food into our facilities. So I just want everybody to understand this isn't a light switch I can flip on tomorrow and fill up all three of my warehouses to address the 550,000 people that are going to be needing assistance in about a week's time. So we do ask that everybody comes together and that we do take care of our neighbors. This is a moment for us to step up because people need to eat. So I appreciate you hosting this today, and I'm looking forward to us working together. Thank you.
Thank you, Aaron Rowe. Nick Osborne, Low Country Food Bank.
Thank you very much indeed, Government McMaster, and everyone who's here today to support our neighbours who unfortunately are facing hunger here in South Carolina. My name's Nick Osborne. I'm the President and CEO at the Low Country Food Bank. I'm also the Vice Chair of the Feeding the Carolinas Association, which is a dual state association representing food banks across the Carolinas. At the Low Country Food Bank, we serve the 10 coastal counties of South Carolina. And just to give a sense of the scale of the work that we do, in the past year, we distributed 46 million pounds of food. That's the equivalent of 33 million meals. Unfortunately, in this past year, we are seeing an increase in the levels of food insecurity. We've seen in some parts of our service area increases in need of up to 30%. So there is certainly a need amongst our communities. 1 in 7 people in South Carolina, and that includes 1 in 5 children, live in food insecure households. Those most at risk of experiencing hunger are, unfortunately, our children, older adults, veterans, and people with disabilities. And as Aaron has shared, that need continues to rise. With the backdrop of the highest food insecurity rates in nearly a decade, the government shutdown is creating hardship and uncertainty for tens of thousands of federal employees, active duty military members, and people who work for federal contractors in South Carolinas. Many hardworking people across our state are just one paycheck away from the support that they need and therefore are turning to food banks for that support. Food banks, and of course our incredibly large network of dedicated partner agencies, have shown time and time again that we have the capacity to respond. And this is another example of a time when we will also respond. And obviously, when that funding is available, we will be activating and responding. Private support is vital to our mission, and we're incredibly grateful for it. However, we can't replace the sheer volume of nutrition assistance that federal programs like SNAP provide our neighbours who are experiencing hunger. And as we've heard already, SNAP is providing nearly 550,000 people in South Carolina with the food that they need to get by each month. 48% of South Carolinian households receiving SNAP have children. Even with robust support, food banks can provide only a fraction of the nutritional assistance that feeding programs like SNAP provide. For every meal that a food bank provides the neighbours experiencing hunger, SNAP provides up to 9. As the need rises, South Carolina food banks will continue to show up for their communities. We will continue to work together and we will continue to meet the need amongst our communities. So we're looking forward to working with everyone in partnership with the lawmakers, our business community, our faith community and individuals to ensure that everyone in South Carolina continues to have the food that they need on the tables each and every day. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rick Osborne. Tony Catone, Department of Social Services.
Thank you, Governor. Hello, everyone. I'm here to tell you just a little bit about the reason for this need. The Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, called SNAP, is the federally funded program that provides low-income households with nutrition assistance by increasing the household's food purchasing power for groceries. Benefits are paid monthly. The funds flow directly from the federal government to a third-party vendor which processes the benefits. The state agency is responsible for determining eligibility of applicants but does not administer the funds directly. This means that DSS and the state of South Carolina do not have direct access to the funds. As many know already, the federal agency that governs SNAP, the USDA, has suspended November 2025 SNAP benefit allotments until further notice. And more recently, the USDA notified states that they cannot cover the cost of these benefits and be reimbursed later by the federal government, that's not allowed. For the month of September 2025, the SNAP program in South Carolina served 266,350 households. That represents 556,359 individuals, and the program provided $103,805,406 in federally funded benefits. That's per month. 71% of benefits recipients are children and seniors. We've been informed that food banks and food pantries from our community partners are already experiencing increasing demand, and I think that's a good sign that people are planning ahead. But the need here will be great, and that's why we're grateful for Governor McMaster calling this press conference and the activation of the 1SC Fund by the Central Carolina Community Foundation. The people of South Carolina are a caring people who know how to love their neighbor. I've read that in some languages, the word or symbol for crisis is nearly identical to the word or symbol for opportunity. Our community has the opportunity here to stand in the gap for our neighbors and share with one another as we see needs. My prayer is that we will not let this opportunity to make a difference in the lives of others pass us by. And I believe in the spirit of unity among our people in South Carolina. That spirit can meet this need. Thank you, Governor.
Thanks, sir. Tony Catone. Sheriff Lott, Leon Lott, Commander of the State Guard.
Thank you. The governor has directed the State Guard to be part of this effort. This is a challenge, but when there's a challenge, we also have opportunities, and this is an opportunity for all of us to work together to take care of those in our state who need our help. You just heard that the majority of these people are kids and senior citizens. That's the two groups that we really need to always focus on. The State Guard is over 400 men and women who wear this uniform, who love this state, but also care for every citizen here. What we've been directed by the governor to do is assist in these operations. As these tractor trailers come into these different food banks, we'll have soldiers there ready and able to unload the trucks. But we also will be there as a show of force with our local law enforcement agencies to make sure that everything's done in a safe and orderly way. We don't want anybody to try to take advantage of this challenge that we've got, and we're going to make sure that those in uniform are there to take care of that. But this is an opportunity for South Carolina to stand tall. We've done it in the past, and we'll continue to do it. This is another opportunity for South Carolinians to take care of South Carolinians, and we can do it. Your State Guard is trained and ready for operations like this, and we're going to be out there in full force supporting the governor's efforts and everybody up here, and all those that are listening and watching, the volunteers and those who want to help. We're ready to help. We need your help. This is a time for all of us to stand together as one South Carolina. But your State Guard is trained and ready, and we'll be there to assist. Thank you.
Thank you, Commander and Sheriff. Well, you see what we're facing, and again, I think this is a real opportunity, and the real good news in it is that if the Congress does not pass a authorization, then we are ready. We don't have to hurry and get ready. We stay ready. We stay ready for hurricanes. A lot of states don't have hurricanes. Of course, they don't have oceans, so they don't have the kind of networks that we have. And I think most states probably are not as deeply related to each other as we are in South Carolina. Everybody's got cousins everywhere and friends for lifetimes because we don't move much. We're born here, we typically stay here. So those things give us a big advantage. But this is a time, as Rick Osmond said, that they usually on regular days they give out maybe one meal for every 9 that the SNAP program would cover. Well, what that means is this is not a time to make a regular donation. This is not a time for regular help. This is time for something extraordinary. This is a time where if you gave $1 to the 1SC fund in an earlier time, of course, always give more. But if you gave, say, to a charity, if you gave $1, this would be a time to give 10. So these food banks, they're in every single county, 46 counties. The state guard is all over the state. We have a great network, but what we must have is volunteers and money. We have to have those two things in order to do the job. But I'm confident that we can do it. Does anyone have a question they'd like to ask anybody here? Yes, sir.
I have a question for you, Governor. Obviously, yesterday, Representative Hamilton Grant sent a letter to you about declaring a state of emergency. Do you plan on declaring a state of emergency due to these expiring SNAP benefits?
No, even if I did declare a state of emergency, assuming that emergency exists, you have to meet certain criteria for that. This is certainly something that we're very worried about at this point. But that would only mean that there's no money, there's no pots of money that state of emergency declaration would open up. We don't have any for this. We don't have any for food. And the other alternative would be for the legislature to come back in. Well, since they are technically still in session, the way the sine die resolution works, I can't call them back in, and they would have to call themselves back in. But in that event, they'd have to appropriate money and then for food, because there's nothing out there, even under an emergency declaration by me, that addresses food. So that's a long, tedious process. It may produce nothing. So the best thing we have, and we're lucky to have it, because we've been through real crises before, we can avoid this one. We can avert this one by doing what has been requested here of our people. Everybody knows something. And I want to say this. People, we saw it in Hurricane Helene when we had all the different agencies, including some of the federal agencies. There were people that we noticed that seemed to be a little bit shy about asking for help here or there. There's no shame in asking for help when something like this happens, when you do not have enough money for food, and that's why you're on the program to begin with. Your neighbors are happy to help. That's why we're here. So I'd say if you need help, come on in and bring a friend with you. You probably know somebody else that needs help that has never asked for it before and embarrassed or shy, just don't want to do it. But this is a time for us to work together. And something like this will happen again. We're going to have real disasters. We don't know what's coming from the hurricanes. The hurricane down in the tropics now is going 175 miles an hour. We never have seen one of those, and we hope we don't see that one. But we've seen real disasters. This is something we can avoid. This is something that we can take care of ourselves without depending on anyone else. And that's a great thing. Another question.
Governor McMaster, we're hearing this plea for South Carolina residents to step up and give. How is the South Carolina government itself going to step up?
Well, there are very few mechanisms that we have other than the agencies that are already in place. But we have no agency that gives out food. This is that's what the SNAP program was there for, is there for, and we can put ourselves into that position right now by what we're doing today.
Governor, typically when you're standing up there, it's a disaster that we can't avoid. It's a hurricane that we can't deflect or move. This thing, there seems like there's at least 3, 4, 5 different ways you could avoid this. Is it frustrating that no one's taking the initiative to try to avert this crisis?
Well, we have to deal the cards that we're dealt, and they're frozen in Washington right now, so we're doing it ourselves. And fortunately, we have the ability, we have the assets. All it takes is the will to do it. Yes, sir.
A lot of elderly are on SNAP and may need food to take their medicine, and now they might have to use their medicine money to buy food. Is there anything in place for them with that?
I think the short answer is that there is nothing that substitutes for SNAP. That is the federally funded program that is designed to provide for this food need, and so there really isn't a ready substitute that exists.
For Aaron or Nick, both of y'all have mentioned, including this morning, but repeatedly, there is no way food banks can totally make up and fill this gap that SNAP could potentially leave by the end of this week. Is there anything else you want to see the state do, or you want to see done in general, short of congressional action, to avert this crisis?
I'll take that. It's just a matter of math, honestly. $100 million per month is not something that we've ever seen philanthropy raise in a week. So it's a matter of having money to buy food. We will buy it as fast as we possibly can with the money that's given to us. But once again, we're limited by the amount of donations that we receive. It is going to take a statewide effort that is bigger than a philanthropy effort to fill in this gap that SNAP is leaving right now because of the sheer volume. Like, it's just, we are not logistically made to address the sheer volume of need that's about to happen.
Let me add this. There are a lot of ways without going through an official program or a charity, and that's just helping your neighbor. If you know somebody that needs help, go buy a basket of food and leave it on the front doorstep. Maybe put it up high so the dogs won't get it, but leave something for them. There are 1,000 ways that you can help without going through a program. But this is a program. This 1SC is specifically designed for this kind of thing, and the network. It has been built up over the years. So this is a perfect way to do it. And we just ask everybody to think about it and be generous. More questions? Did somebody else have an answer?
I got a broader logistics question. So I know that we mentioned that we have something like 900 food banks throughout the state, but the benefit of SNAP is that it follows the money where people tend to go. And I'm sure some of the food banks are probably concentrated in some areas versus others. Do we know areas that are particularly vulnerable, and any plans to address gaps there for people who can't get around?
So I'll share that if you go to 1scfund.org, there are resources linked, including a map of the 900 distribution sites. It's really important to note, exactly as you said, that there are high concentration areas, and then there are areas that are distant from where people are living and are in need. Part of the value of having this tremendous infrastructure of 4 large food banks that cover the state is that they can receive those food resources in. They have that supply chain in place. But then, you talked about the 2 weeks, the 3 weeks that it takes. Then those food resources have to get out to each of those individual pantries and food banks. Each of those are not open, all the time, right? Some are volunteer efforts that happen out of faith ministries. So, Governor, I appreciated what you said. Show up. If that means bringing food from your local grocery store to your church, your faith institution, your community center, where there are little children, where there are people in need, where service is happening, do that, right? If you want to give to a statewide coordinated philanthropic response, give to the 1SC Fund.
How specifically is the money going to go to the banks? Do they have to, apply for grants or?
Yes, thank you for asking. We always are very transparent about the way that we grant philanthropic and privately contributed dollars out. We run a grants process. Those are available on our website now, with the priority initially being to flow the dollars to these large food banks because they can get the dollars out quickly, while gap filling with smaller grants to those smaller localized food pantries and food ministries. Again, I want to reiterate that we start at zero every time there's an activation of the 1SC Fund. We still have dollars that were contributed from Hurricane Helene for that activation, and those dollars need to be restricted for that purpose because there are communities still rebuilding from Hurricane Helene. There's a reason why we held back some of those for long-term rebuilding, which is why we need new dollars to meet this new and urgent food crisis.
More questions? Yes.
Do you plan on calling legislators back to help?
I already addressed that. I have no ability to do that because of the way they adjourned. Other comments? Anyone? Senator Zell?
I have a question for you.
Question?
Just to clear up some confusion. I understand the USDA has said there is no way for states to fund the SNAP and then get it reimbursed. But what is stopping the state from tapping into its very hearty and healthy reserves and funding it, period? Is it a legal question? There's no legal mechanism? Is it because it's such a big dollar amount that won't get reimbursed?
It would have to be, it'd have to be an appropriation. We can't spend money without appropriating.
Sure, but can the General Assembly, if they were to get called back in?
Yeah, we just answered that question.
No, I'm asking if the General Assembly calls itself back into session, can it appropriate the money, or is there no way for that to happen?
No, they could appropriate the money from some source. They, of course, would have to be called back into session by themselves, and then they'd have to agree that that's what they want to do. But that's something that would take some time and some debate. There's no debate over this. We're ready for this. We're ready to go. We're wide open, and all we need is people to step forward. Any other comments? Senator?
Yes, sir.
Tony?
Thank you, Governor. I don't have much to add what's already been stated so far, but first I want to thank Governor McMaster and his office, Director Catone, General Lott, the Big Four, and everybody else. Thank you. And I say that from my heart because hunger is personal to me. Just a bit of a anecdote. You don't really know what hunger does to a family or to dignity until you've experienced it. And many of our districts and our families are in food deserts, so they're already resource strapped, and then throw on the condition that no money is to chase those scarce resources. We're finding ourselves in what could be a very big problem. So I think leadership like this, relationships like this is how we deal with it. I think it highlights the fact that we are very dependent on the federal government, and for something as simple as eating daily sustenance for our folks. I think we can do better in South Carolina, and that's what I see this as, the opportunity to do better. So thank you all so much. Thank you, Governor. Appreciate it. God bless South Carolina.
Thank you very much.